Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and I know I said in the last iPhone 12 video that I did that I was more than likely not going to do another one until Apple announced the next Apple event, but a huge leak just happened courtesy from our friends over at Front Page Tech with Jon Prosser having screenshots of iPhone 12 development software and complete not only with pictures, but videos of the front of the iPhone 12 Pro Max as well. This leak goes over a lot of features and details you are interested in, like the bezel size of the iPhone 12, the size of the notch, and how that Lidar Scanner will be used for more than just augmented reality. Alright, so let's get into it, and you know me, I'm awful at being a YouTuber, so let's do the juicy information first, and maybe the reason you're here to see an actual video of the iPhone 12. Now let me warn you that according to Jon Prosser, this is an iPhone 12 inside of a special PVT case. Apple has used these type of cases with every single iPhone when handing them out to employees to use in public spaces, and these cases make the iPhones look like older models rather than what it actually is. So with this first image, we can see that the iPhone 12 here actually looks like an iPhone 11 with those bigger bezels going around the display. However, Prosser is reporting that this iPhone 12 Pro will actually have reduced bezels compared to what we're seeing here, and he tries to give us a vague glimpse of those smaller bezels in this grainy video. Why are leaked videos always shot on the worst potato camera possible? Now you'll also notice another detail in these leaked videos and pictures, and that is the size of the notch on the iPhone 12. Yeah, you're not crazy. After a bunch of early leaks at the start of this year telling us the iPhone 12 was going to have a smaller size notch, it looks like all of that was wrong, because the iPhone 12 literally has the same size notch as the iPhone 11. Prosser explains that yes, the notch appears slightly smaller because technically the screen is bigger and the side bezels are smaller, but the physical size of the notch is still the same. Now I know this is going to drive people crazy because one of the biggest questions I kept receiving was about the physical size of the iPhone 12's notch and if Apple was going to reduce it in some way, and it looks like they aren't. However, before you start freaking out and proclaiming that Apple is doomed and they aren't good at design, I will still express the same opinion I had when I first saw the iPhone X notch in 2017. It doesn't matter, and you won't even notice it when you're using the phone. The only thing a reduction in the notch would accomplish, realistically, is fitting one or two more status icons in the top row on the iPhone. Literally no content goes there unless you pinch to zoom in on a video, which means you're cutting off the video's aspect ratio anyway and losing even more detail doing that. If Apple reduced the notch by 30% of its size, you just have your wireless carrier name on the top left. I'm pretty sure most of you won't benefit from seeing AT&T taking up space in the top left corner. So a reduction in the notch size isn't what you should be asking for. You really should be waiting for the full removal of the notch and hiding the camera and sensors by it being able to go fully behind the display. Now the notch is still there for a reason because this iPhone 12 will also still support Face ID. Face ID is said to work even better on flatter surfaces this time, however, and it should unlock even faster than before. Now let's move on to something actually more important, and that is the display's refresh rate. For the past few months now, we have heard increasing rumblings that the iPhone 12 Pro may not have the 120Hz ProMotion display that a lot of us want. However, Jon Prosser is reporting that Apple isn't giving up on it just yet. And while it still may not ship for the final version of the iPhone 12 Pro, it is still running on these PVT units that Apple employees have. Prosser says that currently about 50% of the iPhone 12 Pros that employees have this high refresh rate option enabled, and you can see with this leak settings toggle, it has two toggles, one for enabling the high refresh rate and another for enabling the adaptive refresh rate, which will alter the refresh rate from, of course, 120Hz down to 60Hz according to what content is currently being displayed on the screen. As I'm sure most of you know, a 120Hz display drains battery significantly faster than one running on a 60Hz display. So if Apple is to ship a higher refresh rate display, they would need to do something similar to the one that is found on the iPad Pro, where they can change and ramp down the refresh rate when you're not interacting with the display to save battery life. As Renee Ritchie pointed out though, OLED displays and adaptive refresh rates are tricky, as the white point on the display changes and shifts color when using variable refresh rates. Apple prioritizes color-accurate displays above all else, so if they're unable to make sure that the color of the display is up to their standards, they may end up not shipping the fast refresh rate option. But don't worry, this isn't a leak just about displays. We actually have some more information about the camera, and one of the big, if you can call it big, upgrades to the iPad Pro was the addition of a Lidar scanner. Now, this Lidar scanner inside of the iPad Pro was pitched as a way to make augmented reality applications better, and it did do that. It had some really great object placement and image occlusion. In practice, however, AR applications are still too early and few and far between to really be a great feature, and it's kind of awkward just holding up a big iPad Pro to use a feature that is mostly gimmicky at this point. However, it looks like the iPhone 12 will be using the Lidar scanner for much more than augmented reality, as John Prosser's reporting shows some more uses for the Lidar scanner. Take a look at this screenshot and look at the wording. This enables LiDAR-assisted autofocus and subject detections for video and night mode. This tells us about some pretty important upgrades coming to the iPhone 12 Pro's camera. First is even better assisted autofocus for photo and video. It looks like Apple will be using the Lidar scanner specifically to adjust focus for better subject detection. So this means not only will the iPhone 12 probably have even better autofocus than the iPhone 11, but the wording here also makes for the possibility that the Lidar scanner might be used as a way to separate subjects from the background in portrait mode. And this may also apply to video as well. Portrait mode on the recent iPhone 11 Pro seems to struggle sometimes, especially when doing portrait mode shots of subjects, and the separation of the subject and the background. You can obviously notice some imperfections when you're closely inspecting photos. A sensor that can detect depth, like the Lidar scanner, should be better able to inform the camera of actual separation between the subject and the background, leading to better performance. Furthermore, you'll notice that according to the wording, the Lidar scanner will be used in some way for helping out in the night mode as well. I'm really encouraged by this leak because before, we really didn't have a good idea of how Apple would be leaning on the Lidar scanner inside of the iPhone 12 Pro for photo features. With this leak, it seems like they are going to be making some significant upgrades with this sensor that were not available with the 2020 iPad Pro. And even though I'm really excited for that iPhone 12 with a 5.4-inch display, if these photo features are good enough, it may have me picking that big iPhone all over again. Now, on top of those LiDAR features, we also have some confirmation that the iPhone 12 will have advanced high frame rate slow motion video with toggles for 4K at 120 frames per second and 4K at 240 frames per second for slow motion. I gotta say, if this is true, that is amazing. I'm still waiting for my pre-order of the Sony a7 III to come in, and that is a $3,500 camera, and it maxes out at 4K 120 frames per second. I know it's not the same because of the image sensor sizes between the iPhone and an actual mirrorless camera, but it's still super impressive that a smartphone is even capable of that type of high-resolution slow-motion video. Now, to fit in some of this tech, apparently the new camera module on the iPhone 12 is going to be about 10% bigger. Okay, so that pretty much covers the iPhone 12 leaks, and overall we have yet to really see the full and final design of the iPhone 12. We're still expecting a bit of a redesign here with flat edges that resemble the iPhone 4. But as of right now, this is the best glimpse we have of an actual working iPhone 12 Pro Max. Please let me know what you think of these updates in the comments below. If you like this video, well, be sure you give me a like. If you want to see more from this channel, including future updates of the iPhone 12, I guess there may be more if more leaks come out, make sure you're subscribed. If you want to support the channel out in any way, obviously make sure you check out some of the links in the description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.